Reading from the Japa Reform Notebook by His Holiness Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj. One chants Hare Krishna. My dear Lord, you may do whatever you like with me. You may make me broken hearted by not being before me. You may handle me roughly in your embrace, but I am your servant always. I want to chant Hare Krishna in that way. Study these Shikshastak verses and you can understand how to chant in pure devotion. The chanting is the fallen soul's cry for Krishna. Please engage me in your Lordship's service. That is the best we can do, the best service for Krishna and for others also. Whatever desire we have to help others is best enacted on the purified platform of devotional service, spreading the glories of the name to others. Because only by the holy name can anyone become free of suffering in this age. So take the holy name and give it to others. That is service. But don't make the name your servant or even think of it as some prayer in the service of humanity. It is purely transcendental glorification of Krishna by the devotee in pure devotional service, and that is the most auspicious welfare work for the entire universe.
Hare Krishna. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Durena Hyavaram Karma, Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya, Buddhau Sharanaman Vichha, Kripana Falahetavaha. He's saying in this world, most of the living entities are acting on the platform of sense gratification selfishly, and he calls it as a avaram karma, abominable actions, because these actions are all infested with the defects of proprietorship, controllership and enjoyership mentalities. And the living entity, actually, as we said the other day, our eyes are there, but our eyes are dependent eyes. Without the presence of the sun in the day or electric lamps at night, our eyes in and of themselves have no ability to see anything. So although our eyes are so dependent on the sun and the electric lights and all, still man is very proud, show me God. And besides depending on luminescent objects for help, besides that, we also have 4 defects in our senses. Eyes have a limitation to see just between 400 to 700 millimicrons. Otherwise, 400 to 700 units of visible range. Otherwise, there is no ability of the eyes to see beyond that. But still one professes want to be very knowledgeable. So with that kind of false pride, and the living entity in this world engages in activities, he has 2 problems. One is he becomes proud when he does something great, and if the credit is given to someone else, he becomes lazy to do the activity. Therefore, Krishna says in that famous verse, Karmanya Vadikaryasте verse, there are 4 components in that verse. First, he says, the living entities only have the ability to desire and to act accordingly. That's the only thing they have. They can desire and make an endeavor. But the results are not in their hands. Just like we sow the seed, God has to give the rains. Therefore, we have to be detached after performing the work. And then he says, Ma karma phala heturbur. That means don't become proud for doing the things, because the brain is not yours, the senses are not yours, the ingredients you are manipulating in this world are not created by you. So don't become proud. And then after the living entity knows that the credits are all taken by Krishna, Ma phaleshu kadachana, he says, then the living entity tends to become lazy. Then he says, don't become lazy. Mate sangostva karmani. He says, don't resort to akarma of inactivity. Duryodhana wanted to do desire-prompted activity, and Arjuna wanted to do inactivity. So desire-prompted activity means greed. Out of greed, he was very proud and greedy, whereas Arjuna wanted to do inactivity out of laziness. So the desire-prompted activity arises from passion, and inactivity arises from laziness, which is tamoguna. So this rajoguna and tamoguna are the contaminations in this material world. Therefore, Krishna is teaching Nishkama Karma Yoga. He is saying that do your activity and be detached from the fruits, knowing that the fruits are not in our hands, it's in Lord's hands. So the chanting of the holy name, as he says here, is a holy activity There are only two purposes of chanting the holy name. In the stage of goodness, we want to purify our heart. In the stage of pure goodness, we want to please the Lord. So to purify the heart and please the Lord, the holy name can be chanted, and it is not chanted for anything ordinary, he's saying. So in this world, people may go to God and pray for some material goods, chanting the holy name. Like Dhruva went and offered a prayer for that in the beginning. But eventually when he got purified, he lamented. He said, such requests made to the Lord that brings forth material goods. So such material goods are rewards for those with polluted mentality. He says that later on. So therefore, the chanting of the holy name is well done, very nicely done, if you understand this 4-part verse of Karmanyeva Adhikaraste. Do your duty, develop detachment from the results, and don't be proud of having done anything in this material world. Like, Karna was a great Danavir, Nriga was a great Danavir also. But actually, any glorious activity in this world done independent of Krishna is good for nothing. Because it's all on the mundane platform. So therefore, he says, don't be proud of your independently enacted glorious good activities. And then he says, don't be lethargic or lazy for doing your service. So if one carefully understands this verse, one will develop a proper spirit of detachment and proper enthusiasm for acting. By properly understanding this verse, I am Krishna's part and parcel. I am an eternal servant of Krishna, and I will render this service for his pleasure. And it is natural for me to engage in this type of service of calling out his holy name. This is the right attitude which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu portrays in the Shikshashtaka verses. And this right attitude with which you approach the Lord will bestow the sublime spiritual benefits promised in the first verse of Shikshashtakam. Harinam Prabhu ki